Hello, my name is Samantha Mascote. I am from the class Music 3060, Section 2 at 11:30 a.m. with Dr. Provencio, and this is my presentation for the music for the impaired. The impairment that I will be focusing on in this presentation is the impairment of hearing. Impairment of hearing does mean for someone to be deaf or to have a lack of hearing. Impairments of the ears can be caused through genetics, old age, or even disease that affect the ears. Although some cases of hearing impairments can be treated and fixed, it is not the same for everyone. It is found that through psychological research, a hearing impairment in both children and adults can cause low self-esteem, embarrassment, anger, and depression. As a teacher, or as a future teacher, I would not want any of these things for my students, as I believe no other teacher would want these things for their students. So, if they are presented with a child that has a hearing disability, I could only imagine that they would want to do whatever they can to make that student feel normal, feel like they are not different from anyone else, and feel included into the class, although they may not be able to hear very well. In my presentation, I will be talking about the neurological effect of music on impaired people, and I will be giving examples of how to use the guitar and how it can also help in the classroom. As we all know, music affects our daily lives. While we're driving to work, when we're home in our room doing homework, maybe listening to music, maybe we use music as a pastime. Just because someone has a hearing impairment does not mean music does not affect them. Music affects their emotions just as equally as someone who can hear music. Somebody might ask how that is. Well, people that have hearing impairments or are deaf have a different way of being able to hear music. One way would be through vibrations. An easy way to provide vibrations of music would be with like a beatbox. A student could put their hand on the speaker part where the music comes out and feel the bass and the movement of the beatbox, and then therefore create emotion. If, for example, a teacher had a guitar in the classroom, they could also use the guitar to play music for both people with hearing and people with not so good hearing or with hearing impairments, which causes them not to hear. Music has been tested through neurological research, and it has been proven that music affects the frontal lobe of the brain, and that would be because of the memory center, and that is where the personality comes from. It affects both sides of the brain, and it also affects the brain stem. Oh no, not the brain stem, the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe, which causes the memory, the learning, and understanding. And this is with people without hearing. So it's the same for both people with people. It's the same for both people with hearing and without hearing, which is very amazing. It's just a different way that they have to receive the music is the only thing that's different. Music and has been made to help people, and luckily they made it a way so that people that cannot hear can also enjoy music. Schools nowadays are having their own classes for people that have hearing disabilities, and they help them understand and help them overcome their impairment. But it's very important that the students are getting the emotional attention that they need, because as we know, hearing does affect self-esteem and can cause students to go into depression. This is because they feel they feel not normal, and they feel weird, and they feel like they're not learning as well. They feel like an outcast. This is the neurological effects that this hearing impairment has on the brain. But music is one way to help the brain. In the next slide, I will be demonstrating with the guitar what vibrations trigger each emotion and what are some things a teacher can do in a classroom. So now that we've talked about the neurological effects on the brain and for people with hearing impairments, now I will be demonstrating through this voiceover how I would use the guitar to demonstrate different emotions, and how the guitar can also be used in engaging a child that has a hearing impairment. Something that I found that was very interesting is that before getting ready to do this audio recording, I tuned my guitar with my self-tuner. The self-tuner is something that I place at the head of the guitar, and I will play each string. And with the vibrations of the guitar, the self-tuner can tell me if the guitar is tuned, or if a string needs to be tightened, if it's too tight. So I found that very interesting because it's very similar to how students with hearing impairments can just put their hand on the guitar while you play something, and they can feel a certain type of way. For example, playing something slow and soft can make them feel calm. Fast, deep vibrations could maybe feel scary if played suddenly, or it could make the student feel anxious. And or maybe some playing a fast, high vibrations on the guitar can make them feel joyful. So, for example, this is Mary Had a Little Lamb. Mary Had a Little Lamb is a very well-known song, something very child-friendly, very classroom-friendly. If you play this on the guitar and you have a student put their hand on the guitar, if played often enough, the student may be able to recognize that song later on. Maybe it can become their favorite song. Maybe they want you to play it once they're sad. It can help regulate a feeling in the classroom. Another example would be any lullaby. If you play a lullaby for a student and you have them place their hand on the guitar, they may begin to feel calm. Maybe they have an episode, or maybe they feel angry because they're having a difficult time learning because of their hearing impairment. Playing a soft song could make them feel calm. It could relax them. Something you could also play would be All Through the Night. So it would be one second. Playing something very calming could bring a child from a 10 and bring them down to a 2 when necessary. So the examples that I'm going to be showing of the soft vibrations could be something like this. That is just plucking of the first four strings, beginning with the fourth, then the third, second, and then first. Something very easy for someone who's not very familiar with the guitar. It's something very easy that they can play, and it can bring the child to feel calm. Something very fast and deep could maybe make the child feel anxious or scared. Something like this. This sound could go both ways. Obviously, it just depends on the person and how they feel when they feel the vibrations of this. Some might feel energized. They might want to start jumping around and start dancing maybe with this vibration, and some just might get scared. Maybe they were not expecting a very fast and loud vibration. And but yeah, these are all things. This is kind of like how I would explain vibrations and how they can affect each student. I would most likely want to stay with the soft and slow vibrations to keep everyone at a calm pace, but it's like anything. When telling a story, there are happy times, there are times to be anxious and to not know, to be very suspenseful. So it just depends on what's going on. A guitar can be very easily used to tell a story, and I think that is why the guitar is very um, helpful in the classroom and for hearing impaired students.